In a sport already known for innovation, the past decade has seen cycling make huge gains with its scientific approach to everything from training and nutrition to bike design and even socks. So what do the experienced pros that have ridden through this evolution make of these seismic changes?
If I compare to pre-season camp 2013, 2012, in December, let's say, that was more of a up for 10 days, whereas now it's a proper camp, which it has to be, because the way we start the season is different compared to back in the day when I was turning pro. There was perhaps more of an allowance to ease into the season, where now it's sort of game on from day one. Something I've realized the last couple of years is making sure you don't sort of get stuck in your old methods of training, preparation, when all these young kids are just like taking off out in the horizon, and I'm only getting older. You often hear maybe some older pros complain about, computers and stats and this, that, and the other, but it's how you choose to use those tools to your advantage in a way. At some point, I suppose, we'll reach a limit of how fast we can go. But it's a combination of material, from bikes to tires to clothing to nutrition to training methods, has just pushed everything a level up. And now you have these younger riders that are just able to keep going, and it's quite fascinating to witness. It does make me feel very slow at times. We're like, God, 12 years of pro, I can't just sit back and go, oh, I'll just do what I usually do, November, December, blah, blah, blah. You really have to sort of think outside the box and go, oh, I wonder how to maintain that ability to go as deep as they're going.
Although Juul-Jensen has triumphed at World Tour races, the Dane has spent most of his career in the role of domestique. So how important is winning to someone who sacrifices personal glory for the team?
It is all about winning, but you also need to understand that you can't win all the time. And when you don't, that's the test. How do you handle that? How do you handle not winning, or your teammate doesn't win when you put everything on the line for them? And then accepting it, and then moving on and wanting to do it again. And that, I think, has only grown for every year I've ridden. And this understanding that that's why we're here, and that it's hard, but that's what makes it enjoyable. It's like a contrast. You're always riding through a world of contrasts. It's it's bloody hard. Oh, I don't want to be here. And then you get across the finish line. It's like, oh, bliss. That moment, brief moment of crossing the finish line, being in the bus, and then before dinner, it's just pure paradise. And then you start thinking about the next day, and then nerves, and oh, it's going to be a big day, or wind, and this and that, the nerves, the pressure, and then have your dinner, and it's like, oh, tomorrow's another 6 hours. But again, it's you feed off it in a way. I always want to be sort of prepared to step in where I'm needed. That's what I see as my value to the team. A loyal, reliable domestique, and then of course, often in the past I've been asked, oh, why don't you go and win your own races or take your own chance? But there my answer will always be that when those chances, opportunities arise, I bloody well try and grab them with both hands and both feet. And the team gives me the freedom and allowance to do that in certain races. Other races, perhaps a different role, more locked, which I enjoy as well. It's my job. And then, there's always that hunger to, if the chance, comes, I'll try to get it. So in that way, being a pro for 12 years doesn't mean you sort of, oh, now I'm a domestique, that's it. There's always the hunger to want to try and win. The dream is always alive.